5, 4, 3, 2,
Manchester
1,
United have
0.
reached the promised land.
Yes, everyone. How we doing? Sam here, live United People's TV. I hope my volume is okay. I apologize to everyone for the volume not being correct on that video yesterday. I quite literally was cleaning my desk and I think I turned the volume down. I didn't quite notice, but I think it should be all right this morning. You can let me know in the comments, everyone. But let's talk about the World Cup for a day, right? We've been really focused, as we should be, right? As a fan base. We've been really focused on everything that's happened from last week with the Glazers putting Manchester United up for sale, with the Cristiano Ronaldo situation, him being sacked. There was just, the stories were just, well, some of the biggest stories I think we'll ever have this season anyway. So it's kind of taken away from the World Cup. I planned and I created all of these overlays and all the thumbnails for the World Cup because I thought we'd be talking about it every day, but we've been taken over. But today, we're going to be speaking about Manchester United's players. Yesterday, Casemiro, Bruno Fernandes, man of the match performances. I put him up on the wall yesterday and he delivered. Wow. Both of them taking center stage and taking their countries through to the knockout rounds. I think, well, I know Brazil have qualified. I think Portugal qualified as well. I think they have. Anyway, they will qualify. But look, thank you very much for letting me know the volume's all right in the comments. Let's see who's down here. We've got so many greens, so many green members here. It's amazing. Alex, I saw that picture you sent in yesterday, man. Quality. Anybody who's got the mugs. I know 11 quid seems like seems expensive, by the way. It seems expensive to me for print on demand mugs, but that's kind of the going price. I promise you this, you're not getting rinsed on that. I've looked around as well. You look on Etsy, it's kind of the price. If you buy in bulk, you can really reduce the price. But when you're doing it individually, like we're doing it here in the community, it's a little bit more expensive. But Alex, I hope it's worth it, and I hope it's worth it for anybody else who's enjoyed the merch so far. Honestly, if you have got it, send me a photo on Instagram or Twitter. I'm gonna create a sort of catalog of everybody who's got it. But look, who's down here in the comments? Alan Munoz, good morning to you. Stephen Reacts, Lee, Ricky, Paula, how you doing, Paula? Ant, I can see you there. Josh, as always. T, Gungshi, where were you yesterday? What are you doing? You'll be here every day. Nah, how you doing, buddy? Nice to see you there. Who's on Facebook? Robin Williams. We've got Stephen Lawrence, we've got Rich Kid Blinks, and we've got Ian Cartwright. Good morning to all of you. And I'm sure there's lots and lots more. But this afternoon, I'm going to be focusing back on the new owners, back on where this club is going, which is the big story, which is where our focus should be. But this morning, let's have a conversation here about how United are getting on at the World Cup. Actually, just before we start, I normally don't nibble on anything. People send me stuff every single day. They're trying to lure me in, throwing out a lure and trying to get me, and they don't nibble. I've got to nibble on this one because it's just such an outrageous lie that I have to call it out. I don't know who this dude is or where he's come from here, but he's saying that this is what he said last night. Sam said today on a video that Glazers aren't that bad as owners and that fans should protest any sale to the Middle East. He would rather the club stay in the hands of the Glazers than sell to a foreigner. I'm a Glazer fanboy. And it blew my mind that people can make up stuff like this. And this, I suppose the reason I'm putting it up here is that this is the danger, man. The danger of the internet is not only that there's dangers like this, but that people can just literally make whatever they want up. It's absolutely wild. I'll say right now, for Ten Hag's United, for David Tings 83. Fuck the Glazers. They are the worst thing that's ever happened to Manchester United. They are the worst owners to ever own a football club. I want them out of my football club now. There you go, buddy. Does that clear up for you? It made me laugh. It really, really made me laugh, man. Yeah, and I should, what does that say? United, that's Glazers for United. Or that one there. Glazers for United. It just made me laugh. It made me laugh. So I had to call him out on that. I can't be asked to reply to him on Twitter because there's absolutely no way that I'm going to be sort of rising to his bait. Dan, I hope you're there. Hope you're in there defending me. Good man. Look, I will speak about that Ronaldo situation yesterday, but there's no way that that's going to be the main talking point I've got to do today because, look, man, it's just, isn't it great to see Manchester United players doing it on the biggest stage? I think if you're looking previously, like previous year, I would love for you to let me know in the comments now. Have a think about it because I can't, in my head, I can't really think about it. When was the last tournament that you can remember that you felt like United players really took center stage? I'd love you to let me know in the comments. Honestly, you can go back to the last Euros and you can talk about individual, like we would talk about Shaw and Maguire. I think were very good for England. We got to the final. But it just feels like today, well, this World Cup, I'm going to speak about Casemiro. I'm going to speak about Bruno. We'll have a conversation about Varane. We'll speak about Eriksen. It just seems like United players are really turning the screw at this World Cup, and it's fantastic to see. Speaking of fantastic to see, I think we've got the OGs down here. Yeah, we have got the OGs down here in the comments. We've got Gungshi and Alex. He's come back and he's dropped in 10. What an absolute legend. Who are the lucky 10 down here? We've got Mr. Anderson, Usti, Ferdow, Sam Lewis, Araf. We've got Andres Roy, Mo Salad, Tony, and Azriel Rhodes with John O'Hare. And Alex, you gifted 5 as well. Wow, amazing. Kalule, Lucas, Christopher Moses, Tony Stark, and James Dockery. But, man, you're amazing. All of you are amazing. And add to Alex, to Gungshi, to Jay yesterday, who gifted 50. All of you are contributing to the giveaways I'm doing during December. It's the 29th now. We've got 2 days. We're going to have the Christmas tree up. I'm going to announce it all. I've got a full advent calendar of giveaways going away from December the 1st the whole way through to December 24th. There's going to be a lot of giveaways and a lot of the contributions here that have been given in with the gifted memberships. It's all going to go into the pot for what should be a pretty damn good December here on United People's TV. Certainly for the community, there's going to be giveaways literally every day, and some of them are absolute scorchers. It's not just merchandise. That's all I'll say. But look, let me go down here and try and see if there are any tournaments you're naming that you think that United players have really sort of dominated at. We're talking going back as far as 1998 down there, 2006, Ronaldo and the Wink. Maybe there'll be tournaments after that. Maybe there will be, but I'm just loving watching United players do it on the biggest stage. As I said, it's not just Casemiro, but I'm focusing on Casemiro here to start with. There's a super chat there saying Jay Shao talking about Pellistri. I will be speaking about Pellistri a little bit later in the show, my friend. So don't worry about that. Casemiro yesterday, right? That Brazil team, Vinicius Jr., Neymar, obviously didn't play yesterday. Richarlison, Rodrigo, Antony, Rafinha, all these match winners. Nah, fuck that. It's Casemiro coming up with a match winner. Wow. What a cracking goal that was from Casemiro. And Neymar knows, right? Neymar knows. Casemiro has been the best midfielder in the world for a long time. That was Neymar's reaction to the game. And it was a game where Brazil definitely missed Neymar. You can't not miss a player like Neymar. It doesn't really matter how many wonderful players you got on your team. Neymar is just that special individual. But Casemiro, do you want to like rewind a couple of months when Scott McTominay was keeping him out of the team on form? And I stand by the fact that Erik ten Hag was correct in doing that. Because if you look, I think it was, where was it? It was a Europa League game where Casemiro started and he just looked really, really shaky. There was a couple of early performances where Casemiro was like, he's settling in. He is settling in. I would probably go and I would say the only time I would disagree with how Ten Hag managed Casemiro at that point was probably City away. I think that was where he made his mistake with McTominay that he ended up learning from, right? But I think Ten Hag managed him correctly in the early stages. And now look at him, man. Casemiro, I'm not just talking about the Chelsea performance. Casemiro, game on game, has been incredible. I think he's been far better than I I thought he could and would be for Manchester United. I didn't doubt that he would be a top-level player, but I really think I'm blown away by... We're watching... Well, I think he is the best in the world in his position. He is the king in his position as a defensive midfielder. And look, popping up with that goal yesterday, it's wild. It's wild how good he is, and you know what's mad is that he chose Man United. And you know what's even wilder? Had we got Frankie de Jong, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. Isn't it weird the way it works? Really weird the way it works. We definitely still need somebody to be that playmaker who takes the ball from defense and gets that transition out of defense into attack. We need that to play Ten Hag's football. But I tell you what, we landed on our feet by ending up with Casemiro instead. We really, really landed on our feet. Stefan, you joined in as a member. Let me know where you're watching from. And Gungshi, you're throwing in here, man. Honestly, man, all of this is going to be going into the pot for December. So it's generous of you to do so, but the community is going to definitely benefit. You're saying, love watching Casemiro performing so well for Brazil and knowing he's our player. Not bad. Who is it that called him a steady Eddie? Was it Graham Souness, the absolute whopper? But Casemiro, man, it's just... I'm not really sure that we kind of run out of superlatives, really, isn't it? To describe, I mean, he's won the Champions League for... Can you imagine? I think I tweeted this. Let me see if I got this tweet up here. Yeah, I did. I said this. I said it's going to be a real problem for everybody else if Casemiro comes back as a World Cup winner. And I'm not just... Oh, actually, I'll tell you what. Let me know in the comments below, by the way, because I need to figure out... There's a couple of winners from the sweepstakes already. We've had the first red card for Wales. That was Richard Flynn. Big up to you, my friend. I need to give you your 25 quid. And I need to figure out who was the first team to be officially knocked out. I know Qatar's knocked out. I think, is it Qatar knocked out now? Anyway, I need to find out. If anybody knows, send me some evidence of the first official team to be knocked out. And whoever that was, I'll give you your 25 quid as well. And you're saying, look, you just need a bit of time. It's like, Grosh, it's not ready yet. What happened to that advert? I used to like that advert. Sorry if I offended Dutch people with that accent. It was pretty bad. But I tell you what, like, I'm not just saying this for the fact, right? But I got Brazil. As I said, if Brazil win this World Cup, that money is going to go straight in. That's going to be in one of the extra giveaways. It's going to be amazing. Everyone asks for a PS5. Trust me. It's going to be worth a lot more than a PS5, what I'm giving away. I think it was Qatar that went out, right? And I think it was Teresa who got Qatar in the draw. I'm not sure. I'll ask you in the comments, right? Take away what country you're from and what country you'll actually be supporting. Which team do you think it would benefit Manchester United the most if they won the World Cup? Because I don't think you can really look past, personally, I don't think you can look past Brazil. Casemiro coming back as a World Cup winner. Antony coming back as a World Cup winner. And Fred coming back as a World Cup winner. Now, you could say the same thing for England, right? We can have Shaw, we can have Maguire, we can have Rashford. And I do think that would be, well, that'd be great. Of course it would be. In the same way, it would have been amazing if they came back from the Euros and won it. But I just don't think you can look past Brazil. And I tell you what, there's a real chance. There's a real chance. Brazil, that's the first time, I think, since 2002. Correct me if I'm wrong. First time, I think, since 2002, that Brazil won their first opening 2 games at a World Cup. And it weren't exactly, they were, I wouldn't say they were poor yesterday against Switzerland, but they certainly lacked a spark. But Casemiro came up with the goods. Let me see what you're saying down here. Imagine that. I won't disagree with how good that would be if Martinez came back as a World Cup champion either. Portugal, you're saying down there. Brazil or Portugal. In England, no chance. I mean, there probably is no chance. Argentina or Brazil, Portugal. You're saying Brazil or Portugal. My gut instinct would tell me Brazil will be the best one. But ultimately, if we come back from this World Cup with a winner, that will definitely be a good thing inside that dressing room. Could be Bruno Fernandes. And hell, let's start talking about Bruno Fernandes, man. Just a little round of applause there for how Bruno Fernandes is playing at this World Cup. Big round of applause. 2 assists in the first game. Was that against Senegal? No, it wasn't Senegal. Who was it against? Cameroon? No, not Cameroon. Ghana. No, it wasn't Ghana. 3-2 Ghana? can't remember who it was. Yeah, got it in the end. Anyway, Bruno, 2 assists in his first game, 2 goals in his second game. And I've defended Bruno again on Twitter yesterday. I don't know where people get it from. Someone called me a hypocrite for saying that I was the one saying that he should be dropped. All I've done here, all I've done on United People's TV is defend Bruno the whole way through. It's always staggered me. Honestly, I can't. Obviously, this isn't justifying it, but it's kind of proving the point. Like Bruno Fernandes is a top level player, man. Absolutely top level. He is Kevin De Bruyne levels. And he's shown it at this World Cup. He got 2 goals there. Bruno Fernandes got 2 goals there against Portugal. Hit the post at in the 97th minute, and he's pissed off with himself. He's fuming that he didn't get that 3rd goal. Bruno Fernandes coming back as a World Cup winner would be absolutely special. And he is a special player. And as I said, I've said this so many times here on United People's TV that I don't, for the life of me, understand the intense criticism that goes Bruno Fernandes' direction from some United fans. I don't know whether it's, everybody looks for a scapegoat when things aren't going right, don't they? It's kind of happens. It feels like Bruno Fernandes has been scapegoated quite a lot. It feels like, I think a big part of it is to do with levels. And I think we've spoken about this before. The idea of why Paul Pogba was so heavily criticised at United was because he was so good. And people had seen him be that good. And it's like, why can't he do that every week? And it's a bit the same way here with Bruno Fernandes. When he came in that 6 months from January under Solskjaer, we were crap going into the January transfer window. He came in and we were like, second half of the season was absolutely wild. And that was because of Bruno Fernandes. And because he doesn't reach those levels every single game, which is almost impossible. There's only Ronaldo and Messi in their pomp for years seemingly had the ability to just not have dips in form. Bruno Fernandes we are so lucky to have Bruno Fernandes. We are absolutely lucky that he has got Erik Ten Hag as his manager. Ten Hag has said that he sees a lot of himself and his personality in Bruno. And, mate, he's been fantastic at the World Cup so far. 2 goals, 2 assists in his first 2 games. Man of the match there yesterday against Uruguay. I'll tell you what, Portugal made Uruguay look particularly average. And to every single person watching from Ghana right now, I am supporting you for that game on Friday. My mate Dan, who still lives out there, I think Friday is a national holiday in Ghana. Ghana against Uruguay. Ghana winning yesterday. Cracking game, by the way. And of course, Luis Suarez. I just hope. I hope that they can pump Uruguay and just make Luis Suarez cry. That's what I want to see. Let me see what you're saying down here in the comments. Sam, you're saying that Bruno was like Cantona 2.0 at that time. It was ridiculous. Lee, as I said, yeah, it's the levels that he set in that first year. It really, really is. Look, there's quite a few people talking about this. Let's be honest. So I can't ignore it here on the stream this morning. This was this was the tweet I sent yesterday, and I actually thought it was quite a good tweet. I was quite happy with my tweet. I was taking the piss a little bit. Of course, I was taking a piss. I kind of felt like Ronaldo was taking the piss a bit. It's a bit weird. If any part of him touched the ball, it was the Brill cream on the end of his hair follicle. That's about as much as got on the ball. And he whistled away like Alan Shearer, finger in the air. It made me laugh. But did it touch him? I don't know. I don't think it did. He claimed it. He didn't get it. Bruno Fernandes got 2 goals. And that suits me absolutely fine. I thought it was a good tweet. I actually haven't seen Piers Morgan's reaction because he's blocked me on Twitter. But I can guarantee that Piers Morgan is there with a megaphone. Ronaldo touched the ball. Ronaldo told me he touched the ball. Honestly, Piers Morgan's like Piers Morgan's like a Justin Bieber fangirl. It's really weird. Hey, look, I'm not gonna pull any comments up here because I get the amount. I think I've created a little set of angry minions who now will really come against me. A bit like I suppose lads like David Tings, who are now just going to come out, just going to make stuff up about me, really, because I've been outrageous enough to criticize Cristiano Ronaldo, and that is just such a despicable decision that I'm not allowed to do. Look, let's move on because I want to focus on the United players. As I said, we've spoken about Casemiro, we've spoken about Bruno Fernandes, but it's not just those, is it? Martinez, in that game against Mexico, he was absolutely indomitable. He came on in the first game, was it against Serbia, I think it was, and they didn't concede when he was on the pitch. Martinez is just a magnificent player. He really is, and he's showing that he can do it on the biggest of stages here at the World Cup. It's not just at United, not in the Premier League, and he's shining. He's shining. Casemiro with that worldie of a goal there. Worldie of a goal. Bruno Fernandes with 2 goals and 2 assists in his first 2 games. And you know what? It is a consequence of Erik ten Hag being our manager and the position that those players were in when they went into that World Cup. I'm not saying that Ten Hag's responsible for their form at the World Cup. Absolutely not. But this is why it's been difficult for United players to sort of shine in these sort of international tournaments, because by the time they actually go to the tournament, they're coming in off the back of like 2-3 months of drab club form of I don't know. It's just like they're not in the right position to sort of thrive and shine at the World Cup. But I feel like it feels different at this point in time. It feels like we are as a football team, we are heading in the right direction. As a football club, I can now say the ship has been turned and now we are heading in a different direction. Whoever's at the end of that, we don't know who the new captain is yet. We don't know who the new owners are. And that's still going to dominate my focus for the next couple of weeks. Yes, we'll speak about United players at the World Cup when there's a conversation to be had. And there's still plenty more I want to speak about. I'm going to speak about Pellistri. We're going to speak about Ethan Lair coming back from loan. We're going to speak about Juventus's whole board resigning. That's mad. I'm going to speak about Cody Gakpo, about Mohamed Kudus. There's so much more to still talk about here. So make sure you drop a like on the video. But yeah, I just, for me, just seeing Casemiro thrive and shine, and it's me seeing Bruno Fernandes and seeing all the other players, man, Martinez in particular. It makes me excited about what's coming in this second half of the season. Who knows, man? By the time that we kick off against Nottingham Forest on the 27th of December, we might have some World Cup winners inside that squad. And that could, yeah, it is that winning mentality that we lack inside that dressing room. Of course we do. I mean, we've got some of it, yes, but nothing that they've really experienced together. And 3 Brazilian players coming back, man. That would be great. That would be great. Bruno and Butcher at the bow of the ship, holding each other like Rose and Jack. Titanic reference for anyone who doesn't get it. I'm sure you do. Didn't need to tell you that. A minute's applause for that goal. I don't know whether he just did that because he thought it was offside, but I don't care. It was the angle on that loop was absolutely outrageous. Bully, the tree is going up. It will be up on Thursday morning for the Thursday morning show. It's going to be some serious decorating going on in this studio in the next like 24 hours. Andy, of course, we've got the Burnley game. Yeah, League Cup game. I know we do, but it's a League Cup game against Burnley. It's not just a Premier League game. That's what I want to focus on. And we see a couple of more. You can't help but just laugh, man. As I said, you can't help but this at this point. It's I've got to admit, man, there's a certain fan base that are just like, they are just loyal. I'll tell you what, he could I can't be bothered. What is saying down there? Oh yeah, FA Cup draw against Everton. Thank you for reminding me of that in the comments, Alex. United, who could possibly have predicted that United were going to get a Premier League team in the FA Cup third round? I never saw it coming. I never saw it coming. But look, I'll tell you what, I've just spoken about this, right? We just had a conversation there about Casemiro and his man of the match performance. And we've spoken about Bruno Fernandes and his man of the match performance. But take a look at that. You might be looking at some future United players as well with their man of the match performances. Cody Gakpo there with his man of the match trophy from the game against Senegal, I believe. It was Netherlands World Cup opener. And Cody Gakpo, his price is rising. I think PSV will probably cash in. Strikes me as his value is not really going to be that much higher. I don't really see how him staying at PSV for the rest of the season, playing in the Eredivisie, is going to make his stock go any higher than what we've seen at the World Cup. And of course, this is only 2 games in. There's still so much more to go. We don't know whether or not Cody Gakpo in Netherlands are going to get knocked out after the group stages. Maybe he won't be there, but there's a chance, by the way. Depending on what happens with England's game against Wales later, whether we top the group or not, we could face up against Gakpo and the Netherlands in the round of 16. Depends. It's either going to be them or Ecuador, isn't it? And look, a player I spoke about before the World Cup as well is Mohamed Kudus. So I spoke about both of these players and said, look, these are 2 attackers that I think United should probably be having on our scouting list. And I imagine we did, and I've been proven correct. Mohamed Kudus again, well, not again, but that game there between South Korea, wasn't it? Wonderful game to watch. Absolutely wonderful game to watch. James, you're down here saying any truth in a deal agreed in principle. James, if you use your logic, it's very easy to ascertain the fact that there's not going to be a deal in principle. Imagine your PSV, right? Just think about this logically. And this is what I mean about understanding news. Now, I'm not just saying this for you, James. I'm just saying in general, right? Your PSV, you've got Cody Gakpo, who's just he's scored in both games for the Netherlands at the World Cup. His stock is rising and rising and rising. And Netherlands aren't even in the knockout stages yet. Somebody calls you and says they want to buy him for 45 million, hypothetically. What, are you just going to say yes there straight away? Even though you know full well he's probably going to be worth more in about a week or 2. Why would you agree that deal? You wouldn't agree that deal. There's no way that we have agreed a deal in principle to sign Cody Gakpo yet. Not in the middle of the tournament. PSV will not do that. Come on. It's just silly. Ray, you're saying, can't wait for United to come back. It feels like our club is on the up. It does, man. It feels like there's momentum. We finally got genuine wind in our sails. And look, I spoke about Cody Gakpo going into it. I don't think Cody Gakpo is that proper number 9 that we need. Shady, I can see down there speaking about that, but he is a goal scorer. We've seen that. He is comfortable playing through the middle. We have seen that. And Erik ten Hag likes him. He liked him from what he saw in the Eredivisie. He's liking even more what he's seeing at the World Cup. It's not that I'd be surprised if United weren't in for him, but at the same time, I don't know whether or not we're going to be spending money in January, right? And you're saying, look, I thought sorry, not Alex. You're saying I thought the agreement in principle people were reporting was with Gakpo, not with PSV. I mean, we might have agreed personal terms potentially, but that's not the issue. The issue is never going to be personal terms with Gakpo. He wants to join Man United. That's kind of a bit of a muted point. And you're saying you're not sure. I mean, you do love doubting things, and I'll be completely honest. That is your default position. But look, if Erik ten Hag thinks that Gakpo's correct, then I'm trusting Erik ten Hag. I'll tell you what, his instincts have been correct so far as a manager, and his judgment has been very correct. From Madisia to Martinez, and we can speak about Casemiro and whether or not that was the actual ideal option. But Gakpo, one to watch. Mohamed Kudus, go and smash the crap out of Uruguay, my man. Please make Luis Suarez cry. That's what I want to see, Luis Suarez crying. All right? That's what I want to see. Jonathan, yeah, you could say that, but that would be, I mean, that could potentially happen, but then United are spending X amount of money in January without actually getting somebody who improves the squad, which will seem kind of irrelevant, right? But look, right, we've spoken there about Casemiro, about Bruno Fernandes. We've had a conversation about Cody Gakpo and Mohamed Kudus, but there's loads of United players at the World Cup who are doing very well. And I think it's worth us having a little conversation here about Facundo Pellistri. Because, I mean, given how fair it feels Erik ten Hag has treated this whole squad, right? By that, I mean Alejandro Garnacho, if his attitude wasn't there at the start of the preseason, he didn't get in the team. Maguire's been dropped. He's a captain. Doesn't matter. You can get dropped. Ronaldo, you're out of form. You're going to get dropped. Every single player, it seems that he's been fair with all of them. And the absence of Facundo Pellistri has confused a lot of people. Now, remember that he did get an injury against Atletico Madrid in the preseason. And that's a reason why he has been absent for some time. But I have to admit, he was impressive. He came on there for Uruguay, and it was just a threat he had. He squared up to his defender, and you know that Antonio Valencia move? Dink it with your right foot, use that first 5 yards of acceleration, and you can't really be stopped. And then he was just firing crosses in. Now the reason I'm putting this up here is because we're hearing from Rob Dawson from ESPN. The Manchester United, he's looking to leave United on loan. And I can't say I blame him. What do you think is going to happen? Because if we're looking at options that we've got, we're starting to really get genuine options. Like we've got Garnacho and Rashford and Sancho on the left wing. We've got Antony and probably Sancho on the right wing. So there is space there for Pellistri if he wants to sort of get in up. I mean, you could throw Antony Elanga into it, and it's probably a bit unfair if I don't mention him. But I don't particularly see Antony Elanga having a long-term future at Manchester United. And then you've got Rashford or Martial playing through the middle. So there's a lot of competition for places there. But it's for a lot of people, and probably myself as well, I'm going to be, if we're having a conversation about Elanga, then you should be having a conversation about Pellistri at the same time. And it's I know Amad Diallo down there. He's actually doing it. He's having a pretty good loan spell down at Sunderland. But I do think he's physically so far off the Premier League. I know physicality isn't everything, and like the likes of Paul Scholes and Lionel Messi, and there are players who break that mold, but he's like a whisper. Like you could just the wind would blow him over. Pellistri, in my opinion, judging by what I've seen with how Erik ten Hag has treated other players, he must just not quite be doing enough in training to warrant getting opportunities in that first team. That's what my gut instinct is telling me. But let's find out, because Antony Elanga, he's got heart, I'll give him that, but he doesn't have the technical ability that I think Ten Hag wants from his wingers. He wants players like Antony or Sancho or Rashford, whoever's on the left or the right-hand side, to be able to skip past their player and create a chance by making that space. I don't think Elanga's got that in his locker. And you're talking about saying if Gakpo comes in, Sancho comes a right wing. That could happen. Jadon Sancho, I mean, I don't know, man. Jadon Sancho needs to work hard I know he's been training with coaches recommended by Erik ten Hag. He's working with them. So he's not just like taking a month off. I think the players are all now back in. I think they had a week off. I think all the players are now back in at Carrington this week, ahead of next week, where, of course, we play Cadiz and Real Betis. Now, it'll be interesting to watch those, because there's going to be a bit of a chop change team, because there's going to be players still at the World Cup. Ross, you're saying, look, Amad's physicality thing is nonsense. There are smaller, lighter players in the Prem. Dude, I'm only going by what I've watched and how I watched Amad play. And if you watched him play at Rangers as well, I actually haven't seen him much at Sunderland, I'll be completely honest. But he's somebody who is very, very slight and very easily nudged off the ball. And because he's that sort of player that tries to go past people, he has to be able to take that barge, because it's just going to be part of the game. I think in Serie A, you'd always have more space in behind to run, skip past your player that way. I'm not saying that Amad can't work out, and I'm not saying that at all. Just haven't seen it enough. Not just yet. Kieran, you're saying when are the friendlies? I think they're the 7th and the 10th of December. Let me find that out for you now. I think I'm right. Let's have a look. 7th at 7 p.m. UK time against Cadiz, and the 10th at 5 p.m. against Real Betis. That's exactly what the days are. I've got them right. Spot on. Go me. But today we could have even, like as I said, Casemiro, Bruno Fernandes, talking about Gakpo and Kudos. Today we could have even more good news for United players. We have got England in action against Wales. We've got Marcus Rashford, we've got Luke Shaw, and we've got Harry Maguire. All going to be playing for England against Wales, and I wish the best of luck to all of them there. Tyrell Malacia, will we see him get some minutes? I'm not really sure. We'll find out. He hasn't really been playing. Daley Blind's been playing there. Can't remember who the backup is for there. But he's just enjoying himself in the squad. Tyrell Malacia is a young kid. At some point, that left-back position with the Netherlands national team will probably be his to hold. But at this moment in time, it's not right there. Let me see what you're saying down here in the comments. Lee, you're saying, look, Ahmed's biggest problem at Rangers was bullied off the ball. Championship would be a big test for him. Like, I'm interested to, like, United scouts. I mean, they might have been sacked by now, but we paid 40 million for a teenager who had about 60 minutes of Serie A senior football in Amad Diallo. We saw something. There must be, and I know there is a top quality talented player there. It's about how you bring that out. I'm not sure if you've seen it. I kind of probably should have pulled it up here. Training Ground Guru, they've got a podcast, and they had a conversation with Justin Cochrane. Was it? Yeah, Justin Cochrane. And he was the former under-18s coach, I think, at Manchester United. He now works for Brentford. And he had a conversation about Alejandro Garnacho. And he was speaking about the coaching that he's done. And basically saying, look, he was such a good player that all we kind of had to do was basically tell him what he's good at and what he should do more of, rather than kind of teaching him how to play football. And they were talking about the fundamentals of his game, and he had this natural instinct to go on the outside and try and chop it on the inside. You know, that Ronaldo chop, like behind your feet, go back on the inside. They said, no, you shouldn't do that anymore. Just stay on the foot that you're on. Go around a player instead of trying to cut back in on the inside. And then he was saying that it was amazing to see him score on his left foot for United's first team. It kind of goes to show that he was listening to what we were saying. I just found that quite interesting. I'd love to speak to someone like that on here. But a separate point there, we're speaking about January, about players. There's a lot that needs to be sorted at United, for sure. And the right-back situation is definitely a bit of an issue. So Manchester United are open to recalling certain players from loan in a January transfer window. Ethan Laird, Hannibal Mejbri, and Amad all have recall options. We've just had a conversation there about Amad Diallo. It strikes me that the best thing for him and his career would be enjoy the rest of the season in the Championship with Sunderland. Let's see how you get on. Let's see how you come back. Hannibal Mejbri, I would probably put in the same category. I think, as far as I've seen so far, and the Birmingham fans I've spoken to, he's really been enjoying himself. A bit like Alvaro Fernandes at Preston. I'm pretty sure that Alvaro Fernandes and Hannibal Mejbri's loan spells are going very, very well. Ethan Laird, that's the one we need to have a conversation about, right? Because Aaron Wan-Bissaka is, in an ideal world, going to be leaving Manchester United in January. He doesn't have a future at the club under Erik ten Hag. It's not a personal attack on him. It's just that his profile of player doesn't suit the style and system of Erik ten Hag. Therefore, it doesn't really work. So what happens if when new managers come in, there's certain players from previous regimes that don't get the chances. Ethan Laird, and especially because Mick Beale has just left QPR. I'm not sure if you know that. I'm sure you do. Mick Beale was their manager who came into QPR this year, and they were riding high, having a great time, linked to the Wolves job, rejected it, said he was staying loyal to QPR. And then what? 2 weeks later, he joins Rangers, where he was assistant manager under Steven Gerrard. I now don't know what's going to be going on at QPR this year. And I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, if Manchester United can recall Ethan Laird and loan Aaron Wan-Bissaka out to Crystal Palace, that would be the best case scenario. That, for me, looks like a very smart, very cheap option, but also very smart. I'm not looking at Ethan Laird as someone who's a bang average player. He's exciting to watch, man. Very attack-minded, young, whole career ahead of him. For me, Jonathan, your dad's talking about Ethan Laird being a win-back. Yeah, I would say he's more of a natural You know how Delo had to really improve the defensive side to his game, and he really has under Erik ten Hag this year. I would put Ethan Laird in the sort of similar categories to where Delo was maybe 12, 14, 16 months ago. And look, Diogo Delo, I'll tell you one thing, as somebody just mentioned there in a comment, isn't it good to see Delo getting a rest? He might not be happy, and maybe he will come in later in the tournament, but he played every single week. And I'm happy with the fact that he's getting a bit of a rest. Jibak, you're saying, as long as our players can avoid injuries and carry their form to the Premier League, we'll be in a strong position for top 4, but we will need to manage fatigue. None of us can anticipate, really, how bad that fatigue will be after the World Cup. Especially as much as I'm talking about how great it would be if Casemiro, Antony, and Fred came back as World Cup winners, it means they're going the whole way through to the 18th of December. And then we play Burnley 3 days later. Odds are they don't play that game. But then it means that they would be playing a Premier League game against Nottingham Forest 9 days after the World Cup final with Christmas in between. It's mad. It's mad. And we're going to have to manage that. And I don't know how we manage that, but it's about... It's going to be tough. It really is going to be tough. But everybody, actually not everybody, certain clubs, lesser clubs, wouldn't have as many players going that far in the tournament. So they probably won't be as affected as someone like Manchester United. But, you know, kind of is what it is. You see what you're saying down here. Yeah, of course. There's all sorts of concerns I think I have after the World Cup for all the players coming back, for all the players who are involved. And that's what happens when you create this crazy season, when you work with a corrupt FIFA and you allow them to be paid off and the World Cup goes to Qatar in December. This is a direct consequence of that. I'm worried about it. I am worried about it for sure, but we don't know what to expect. And that's going to be where the strength of a squad really comes through. And it's a bit, let's be honest, it's a bit of a weakness in Manchester United's overall setup this year is squad depth. We've got a very good starting 11 and decent strength in certain positions. But after that World Cup, after Christmas, that game against Forest on the 27th, where there is a protest, by the way, remember that. I was speaking about that in a little bit more detail closer to the time. I don't know what to expect. I really have no idea. It's going to be it's going to be like two different Premier League seasons. We've had part 1 of the season finished. We finished strong. We had some hiccups along the way. Overall, I'll probably give it a C+. Maybe even a B-. Nah, C+. I'll go for a C+ in that first half of the season. Let's see what happens in the second half. And we really have no idea what to expect. Something else that happened yesterday that I really need to speak about, which is absolutely wild, right? And that's this. Last night, just sitting there watching the end of the Portugal game. And then this tweet comes out. Let me explain it to you. Andrea Agnelli is the Juventus chief, as far as I know. What's his actual job role? I don't even know what his job role is. President. The Juventus board, including their president, Andrea Agnelli, and vice chairman, Pavel Nedved, have all resigned from their positions en masse on Monday. The extraordinary collective resignation comes after the club's financial statement underwent scrutiny by prosecutors and the Italian market regulator in recent months for alleged false accounting and market manipulation. Now, if you remember, back in the day, when was it? Was it 2006? Let me have a look. Let's have a look. Let me find out what year it was. There you go. 2006, 2007. That was the last time when something crazy happened with Juve, and they were relegated out of the Serie A as a direct consequence. Right now, you're staring down the barrel of that again if you're Juve. The whole board has just walked away. Now, if that doesn't scream guilty, I don't know what is. And remember, by the way, there were three men really, really pushing for the Super League, even after the Super League collapsed. Florentino Perez, president of Juventus. Joan Laporta, president of Barca. And bingo. Andrea Agnelli, the president of Juventus, who has now resigned after guilty. That's what that screams, right? And I tweeted this last night. Stand by it as well. I was like, look, all right, no problem. Oh, look, the whole board's resigning. Yeah, all right. Yeah, we'll take Chiesa. We'll take Vlahovic. What Juve players would you want? Paul Pogba. Oh, dearie me. Dearie me. I wouldn't say this is just Italian football, Josh. Look at what happened with Barcelona this summer. It's just that Barcelona got away with it. Simple difference there. Juve have been caught. Barcelona and their twisted books. They've obviously got better accountants. Or they just haven't been found out yet. One of the two. So I wouldn't say this is just an Italian thing. I said this is just a... Clubs are dirty. Clubs are sneaky. They really are. And sometimes they get caught out. And it's a shame. Really is a shame. So hopefully Juve get relegated. It's what they deserve. I don't know. I don't know about hopefully. But isn't it just isn't it wild? You're sitting there. I know that all the focus has been on the World Cup at the moment, right? Which of course is the correct thing. But in the last 2 weeks, Liverpool's up for sale. Ronaldo's been sacked. United's up for sale. And now the entire Juve board at once has resigned. It's crazy. It really is absolutely wild. It's the only way I can describe it. James Docker, you want McKennie all the way? Vlahovic and McKennie as well. Chiesa. I think Chiesa is my favorite Italian player, man. Watching that guy. Ooh, he's great. If I was going to choose one, I would... Damn it. Would I choose Chiesa or Vlahovic? In the comments, right? If you were going to choose one between Chiesa or Vlahovic, who would you choose? Type the name in the comments and I'll see who's down here. Andy, with Fred being 29, we should cash in on him. I think Fred's going to stay for a little while, man. You might not like him, but he does serve a role inside that squad. I don't know. If on paper, if United sold Fred and adequately replaced him, I'd be fine with that. But United typically don't do that, do they? United typically don't do that. When it comes to selling players, we don't really replace them that well. Let me see what you're saying down here about Vlahovic or Chiesa. You're saying Chiesa, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for Vlahovic there. Chiesa all day long. Majority of you are saying Vlahovic here, but I would say it's like 75-25. Chiesa, Vlahovic, you do love him as well. Ooh. Look at us all having a fire sale. We're all like vultures. We're talking about the whole Juve board being sacked. We're like, no, which one of your players am I nabbing? I would personally, I don't know. I'm torn. My instinct would be to say Chiesa, but then I'm looking at maybe kind of need a goal scorer. How can you look over Vlahovic? Sometimes I feel like we make life extra difficult for ourselves at United by trying to do things in the right way. Most United, I wouldn't say we should be looking at Juventus and go, right, okay, what did they get caught for? Let's see how far we can go without getting caught. Let's not do that. But what I would say is, if you look at some of City's sponsorships by companies that are owned by their owners, no wonder your revenues are record revenues. That's not suspicious whatsoever. Barcelona pulling levers like they're in an arcade, not suspicious whatsoever. Selling off 20% of your football club to pay for your transfers this summer. Yeah, good business sense. Juve, the whole board resigning at once. Madness. But look, down there in the comments, I would say that I'm going to go, it's about 75-25% for... I probably should have put a poll up. I'm really naff at doing polls. But I would take them both. Absolutely would take them both. Look, last couple of minutes of the show. Let me know any questions you've got for me. It can be, you can ask me whatever you want. It can be football related, non-United related. I'll try and answer them as many as I can. Popper needs to get a better witch doctor, man. I swear, because this witch doctor has absolutely done a job on him. Not only has he got injured, his club might now get relegated. Yeah, Paps, I won't disagree with that. I won't disagree with that at all. But as I said, I'm not going to point the finger just towards the Serie A when I'm looking at what Barcelona have just done this whole summer. When I'm probably looking at what City are doing with playing their books as well. It's mad. But yeah, remember that Everton was drawn last night in the FA Cup. I think the game's on around about the 7th of January, thereabouts. 6th domestic cup competition in a row where Manchester United have been drawn at home. That's the latest on that one. What we're saying down here. We have a saying, one man's death is another man's bread. Clearly, we feast on the carcass. One man's death is another man's bread. I like bread. Everyone likes bread. It's true. Tyler, we spoke about that yesterday. Mustard. Absolutely top level goal from Enzo Fernandes. But he's not a player who's just about the goals, is he? He's the sort of... I'd like us to really look at Enzo Fernandes. Really, really, I would. Who do you think will win out of USA and Iran later? I can't imagine that's going to be an exciting game. But I also don't know what are the results in that. So look, World Cup. Let's pull the World Cup groups up. World Cup groups. I think England is top at the moment, aren't we? Yeah, there we go. Let's pull this one up here. Right, let's zoom in on this. That's what Group B is at the moment in time. So tonight with England, win and we're top, guaranteed. We might be top if we draw, but England need to beat Wales, and Wales, I mean, yeah, good luck qualifying from that group. Really good luck qualifying from that group. Can you do a bit on Moussa Dembele and Gonzalo Ramos? Gonzalo Ramos says he hasn't really played much, has he? Hasn't really played much, or if at all. And that's in a Portugal team, which has obviously got Ronaldo. It's obviously got Raphael Varane. I'm not sure he's played. I can't remember if he has. Karim saying, who's the nearest to catching United deal, Dubai or Apple? Strikes me as Dubai, but I'll tell you what, hasn't it quietened down the last few days? It's certainly quietened down in the last few days. Since last week was crazy. Every 7 hours, it was like Apple was getting thrown about. Then Dubai, then Saudi Arabia threw the name in the hat. Then Jim Ratcliffe came in. And then it's gone a bit quiet. I imagine that's probably a good thing. But there'll be more to come. As I said, I might do my video at lunchtime today on a US consortium that I think is going to put in a bid for Manchester United. And we can take a look at them. Because, as I said, this guy was just like chatting out of his ass. I didn't say that Manchester United fans should be protesting any sale to the Middle East. I said, Manchester United fans, we have to make sure we're scrutinising every potential new owner. And I'll have that same sort of looking glass when I do my video today on the potential for an American owner to come in and buy Manchester United, which has a whole different set, but similar sorts of concerns. If you know, that doesn't really make any sense. Ramos has been on as a sub. There you go. US will be much stronger the next World Cup. Do you think De Gea will stay past this summer? I've thought that. I thought no for a while, but Ten Hag's kind of been bigging him up. It could happen, but remember that we need to extend his contract if he does. I think so anyway. Do you think we're going to buy anyone in January? Tyler, I need to try and find out some factual information about whether or not United can leverage more debt against the club. Because if United can and the Glazers can, we will buy players and we'll just take some more loans out. And whoever comes in will have to absorb that purchase. If they can't, then we won't, because the Glazers won't just dip into their pocket and put 40 million on a player. That just won't happen. But look, thank you very much, everyone, for joining in this morning. It was a slightly different show. I took the focus away from the sale of Manchester United. I'm going to go back and looking at it. I apologize about my video yesterday. It did annoy me, actually. The sound was down, but it is all fixed now, I promise. So everybody, you can't complain about it now. Make sure you drop a like on the video. Make sure you subscribe to United People's TV. Big up to Alex. Big up to Gungshi. Big up to everybody who donated memberships. As I said, it's all going to go towards what it will be a big old December here on United People's TV for the community. Giveaways every single day and some absolute scorchers as well. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining in. Big up to England. Hope you win later. I'll see you tomorrow.